So sitting behind me is my brand new embroidery machine, the Rainbow Embroidery 12 needle embroidery machine. Ain't she pretty? Now, I am going to be doing a full-on review on this machine pretty soon, but just so you know, this is one that was actually sent to me by the company Rainbow, and huge shout out to them. Huge thank you for sending this over. I absolutely love it. Up until now, it has been super easy to use, actually. And on top of that, it was very easy to learn. Now, up until I actually started doing it, I always found embroidery pretty intimidating. And that's one of the things that actually stopped me from getting started in it in the first place. So today I'm going to be giving you 5 different things that I've learned ever since I started embroidery that pretty much every beginner should know. These are things that I found out pretty much the hard way. It just started raining, I apologize. So if you hear something in the background, that's what it is. But these are all things that I found out through experience, trial and error, and honestly, it was a pretty fun process. So with that, let's start with number 1. And the first thing is going to be this thing right here, the one that goes in here. It's called a bobbin. This little thing right here holds the thread, and pretty much what happens is the needle goes through the top with your colored thread, and then it hooks onto this one, and then it goes up and down, and that's how it secures the thread down. Now that thing runs out a lot, and a lot more often than I would like it to. Now the reason I'm bringing this up is because it actually caused a lot of issues at the beginning for me that I couldn't figure out why. The first one was an error that I kept getting saying that the needle broke, or that the thread broke. And I couldn't figure out why, because the needles down here, they had the thread through them without an issue, and they weren't broken, they were intact. So I kept thinking and thinking, what could it be? And then I remembered, oh wait, there's a bobbin that has that string in the that has a thread inside. I wasn't too sure what it was for, but then I figured it out. That's exactly what it was for. So I realized I kept testing out different designs without ever replacing it or refilling it, and it just ran out. Now the good thing about it is that you can replace it mid-stitch. So if it just stops and it gives you that issue as the machine is already embroidering, then you can just go ahead and replace it and it'll be perfectly fine. You can continue the job without an issue. All right, number 2 is that digitizing is actually pretty hard. But if you have experience in vectorizing or with SVG images, then it actually makes it a little bit easier. Now, there's a lot of different programs that I found. Most of them are paid. And at the time, or right now, I didn't really want to waste money on a paid program, simply because I wanted to learn how to use the machine first. If I needed any files, I could just buy them off Etsy. But I did want to know at least the basics of it. So I found InkStitch. And InkStitch is an extension for Inkscape that's completely free. And what it does is it essentially digitizes your images. It gives you a few different options in terms of the threading, how you want it to sew, and how everything works, but it's not as intricate as some of these other more dedicated paid programs. Now, the difference that I found between this free version, the InkStitch, and all of the other more professional versions is that you have a lot more control with the paid versions or with the more professional versions. InkStitch is kind of like, put it this way, InkStitch is somebody that's essentially working on their car that can YouTube a few things, they know what they're doing, they can get the job done. But these other programs, the more detailed ones, those are for the actual, I guess, mechanics, the ones that really know the ins and outs and all the intricacies. So for the casual user or for somebody that's just getting started or they're learning, like myself or maybe even yourself, InkStitch, it gets the job done. Check out the sweatshirt that I embroidered with my logo. I digitized this image using InkStitch and it came out fantastic. It actually came out really, really good. Now, if you want a tutorial on InkStitch and how I use it or how I've been using it up until this point, then just let me know down in the comments below. Also, if there's anything that you want to learn, just drop it down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts or your input. All right, number 3. This one was a very important one, and I didn't learn it until maybe the 3rd or 4th garment that I started embroidering, and that is always use stabilizer, at least a backing stabilizer. So this is a tearaway stabilizer, and it's actually pretty cheap. For 50 yards, for a 10-inch, it cost me, I think, like 20 bucks, but I had to buy a bigger one just now because this is my 2nd biggest hoop and that one works well. But for this hoop, the biggest one, I've really been wanting to use it because I'm pretty sure you all know, I've mentioned it a lot of times, but I love oversized designs and oversized embroidery designs, even better. But anyway, the 10-inch doesn't fit, so I had to buy the 15-inch or the 12-inch. The 12-inch works, but I ended up going with the 15-inch, I think, just to have a little bit of extra space. But yeah, always use stabilizer. Research it before you get started, and at least purchase the tearaway. There's a few different ones that you can choose from. Some that are going to go under the garment, which those are the ones that I suggest always having on there, like the tearaway. and then some that go over the garment. There's a few different reasons why to use one or the other or both, which again, if you want more information on that, just stay tuned, make sure to subscribe. I'll be covering a lot more embroidery stuff in the future. Also, really quick before we continue, if you're interested in an embroidery machine, one like this one, this is the Rainbow A12. I'm gonna have the link to it down in the description below. And I'm also gonna have a discount code there that you can use to get 5% off. Now, this is a Chinese made machine, but they do ship from the US. So you're gonna have some pretty fast shipping. You don't have to wait months. It's only gonna be a few days or maybe a week or so. Now, this machine is also available on Amazon. So the link that's in the description below is gonna be the Amazon link. And I'm also gonna give you the code that's gonna get you 5% off. Now, this machine is currently running for $5,199, but hey, 5% off of that is like 260 bucks. So that's not bad. That's a nice little discount that you can use to purchase a couple of extra accessories or some different color threads. Which, by the way, this comes with literally everything that you need. It comes with 2 sets of the hoops that come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes. So in total, you get 10 hoops, 2 of each size. So that way, as one is embroidering, you can get the other one ready. Besides that, it also has all the tools and it even has a software to be able to use. Now, I didn't end up going with their software. I did end up using Inkstitch just because I already have Inkscape and I just found it a bit easier to use. All right, next is tension. Now, tension is something that's very, very important. If you have your tension too loose or too tight, then the stuff that you embroider, it's not going to come out good. Either the threads are going to be too loose, they're going to be too tight, they can snap, it can cause a lot of different issues. So this is something that's very, very important. And it's something that you do need to take a little bit of time to be able to set up at the beginning. Now, it's not that hard. It's actually something that's very, very easy to do. All you have to do is just run a couple of different tests for all of your different colors, and you'll be able to get your tension settings just right. Again, if you want more information on this, this will be covered in a future video. This video is not going to cover all of the intricacies and the details, but really just the main points of what you need to know. All right, sorry about that. I had to switch locations because behind me, I don't know if you noticed, well, I mean, not here, but behind me in the other room or in my office, I have the garage door and the rain was just getting way too loud. So the last thing, and probably the most important thing that I learned in my journey starting embroidery, is that it's not as hard as it seems. And I mentioned this at the beginning. It looks really, really complicated. I'm not gonna lie. From an overview, when you're first getting started, when you're first looking at everything, it's intimidating. But taking it step by step, first taking everything out of the box or uncrating it, building everything, going through the videos that they provide you, going through all of the different instructions, it's very, very simple to get started. Yes, there are a few things that you're going to have to kind of use your brain for, but every good thing involves a little bit of thinking and has some sort of learning curve. This is no different. And honestly, it is not as complicated as it seems. It looks a lot harder than it really is. So if you've been thinking of starting embroidery and you haven't started because you're intimidated, don't. There's a lot of different resources out there that you can use. And the cool thing about this company, the Rainbow Embroidery Company or Rainbow Mechanical, is that they have some pretty good technical support. So they give you access to a dedicated technical specialist that you can literally ask any question to. So if you realize that your thread keeps breaking for some reason, you can reach out to them and they'll help you out pretty much almost instantly. You do have to keep in mind that they are in China, so it does take a little bit sometimes because of the time zone difference, but the service has been phenomenal so far. So what do you think of embroidery? Is it something that you've been wanting to get into? Is it something that you want to start? Is it something that you've been considering? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know if there's any topics in embroidery or in the t-shirt business overall that you would like me to cover. Huge thank you to everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. As always, it truly means the world to me. My name is Mario with Neko Prince, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.